But yesterday I have posted the same lecture on the class group, but there was some problem, therefore I have removed that lecture. Now again I am reloading this lecture 9, that is on the potentiometer. This is the very important device because the theory, the numerical and the 2 practicals from this segment is in your syllabus. 2 practicals from this segment, potentiometer and theory questions like the reasoning questions and the circuit diagrams, and the first thing is the next thing is that the numerical on the potentiometer. So first thing is that what do you mean by the potentiometer? So beta, potentiometer is a device which is used to measure the EMF of the cell and potential drop across the length of the wire. So what is the potentiometer? It is a device. It is a device used to measure the EMF of a cell and potential drop across the length of wire. Potential drop across the length of the wire. Then that device is called the potentiometer. Now second thing is that beta, on which principle this device will work. What is the basic principle behind the potentiometer? So now we just set up a circuit diagram here. Let this is the wire of certain length. This is the wire AB, and this is also said to be the potentiometer wire, and we just connected a DC source which drives the current in the circuit. And since this DC source is driving the current in the circuit, therefore beta, this cell will be named as driver cell. It is named as the driver cell, or secondly you can also say that the source battery. So whatever the name is used for this cell or battery, that is the driver cell and the source battery. There is the keys connected here. You just connect the rheostat or the additional resistance. What is the purpose of this rheostat or the additional resistance we'll discuss later. And this is the key to make the circuit closed and open. This part of the potentiometer circuit, this is the potentiometer wire. This is the potentiometer wire AB. This is the source battery, this is the rheostat or the additional resistance, and this is the key. This circuit is the potentiometer circuit, and this is also said to be the auxiliary circuit. This is also said to be the auxiliary circuit. Now, we just connect a voltmeter. The positive terminal of the voltmeter is connected to this point, and this is said to be 0 end of the potentiometer. Means you start counting the length of the wire from this end only, and you just connected the positive terminal of the voltmeter up to this, and negative terminal is connected by a jockey. Just take a wire, connected the negative terminal, and then it connected to a pencil jockey. So you know that if this is the voltmeter, if you want to know the circuit connection in the lab, this is the 0 end, that is the positive terminal, and you just take the wire and it is connected to the pencil jockey, and this jockey will move over this potentiometer wire. For example, we just put this pencil jockey at this point. Whatever the reading comes, let it comes 0.1 volt. It is the 0.1 volt, and the length at which you just put the jockey, it is the 10 centimeter from end A, and you are getting the potential drop of 0.1 volt. It means that this voltmeter will reach the potential drop across this much length of the wire, and that is for the 10 centimeter it is 0.1 volt. We just put our jockey at the 20 centimeter, we found that it is the 0.2 volt. We put the jockey at the 30 centimeter mark, we found that it is the 0.3 volt. We put the jockey at the 40 centimeter mark, we found that it is the 0.4 volt. We then put the jockey at the 50 centimeter mark, we found that it is the 0.5 volt. When you are practically executing this thing in the lab, definitely there is some slight deviation is there, and this is the one of the activity also. 2 practicals and 1 out of 6 activities. This is the one of the activity to plot the graph of potential drop across the length of the wire versus length. So this is the length and this is the potential drop, and by doing such an observation, such observations in the lab, you make observation table and then you plot the graph. The conclusion is that if we found that if the potential drop across the length of the wire is directly proportional to length of that much portion. Again I am repeating, the potential drop across this L length of the wire is directly proportional to L. It is directly proportional to L. Means potential drop across the length of the wire is directly proportional to length of that much portion, that is V is directly proportional to L, and this is the principle of potentiometer. So what is the principle of potentiometer? The potentiometer works on the principle that potential drop across the length of the wire is directly proportional to the length of that much portion, and this implies that if we take the ratio of this one V by L, and this V by L will be constant, that is potential drop per unit length will be constant, and for the potentiometer this constant K is named as, because it is the potential drop in the unit length, and this constant K is named as, it is potential per unit length, means potential per unit change in position, and it is named as potential gradient. It is named as potential gradient. It is named as potential gradient. SI unit will be volt per meter, but generally beta in the lab, since distances are measured across the length in centimeter, therefore we will prefer to use in volt centimeter, but SI unit is the volt per meter. So this is called the potential gradient. Now if we plot the graph of V versus L, if we plot the graph of V versus L, the graph will be a straight line. And now from here you can see that if we finding the slope of the graph, if we finding the slope of the graph, so slope will be equals to tan theta equals to perpendicular, on the perpendicular axis is V, on the base it is L, and that will be equals to potential gradient. Means one thing is clear from here, the graph of V versus L for a potentiometer wire will give the potential gradient of that potentiometer. In 99% cases, or you can say that in all the practical cases, we consider that this potentiometer wire is of uniform cross section and is of the same material throughout, and therefore you can say that gradient will be constant throughout the potentiometer wire, and means again you can say that the potential gradient is one of the basic feature of any given potentiometer. And what is the role of this physical quantity gradient, I will just tell you later. Now so this is the principle of the potentiometer. The first thing is that how can you measure the EMF of the cell? By using the potentiometer, that is measurement of EMF of a cell. Measurement of EMF of a cell. How can you measure the EMF of a cell? By using the potentiometer, and what precautions you will make when you are going to measure the EMF of the cell by using potentiometer. So now beta, if you want to measure the EMF of the cell, let this is the standard cell whose EMF we want to find out. This is the positive terminal, this is the negative, and the EMF of the cell is unknown. You just connect the positive terminal of this cell to the zero end of the potentiometer. Now the thing comes ki what do you mean by the zero end of the potentiometer? The end of the potentiometer which is connected to the positive terminal of the DC source, positive terminal of the driver cell, that end is said to be zero end of the potentiometer. Again I am repeating beta, ki the end which is connected to the positive terminal of the DC source, that is said to be zero end of the potentiometer. From the negative terminal take a wire and just connect it to one end of the galvanometer, and other end of the galvanometer is connected to a pencil jockey. And we know that what is the role of this galvanometer. Whenever there is a current in this branch, there must be the deflection in the galvanometer. So now we want to measure the EMF of the cell. First we put the jockey at this point, and we found that the deflection in the galvanometer is towards left side. We put the jockey at this point, we found that the deflection in the galvanometer is towards right. The point at which we found there is no deflection in galvanometer, that point is said to be the null point, and that point signifies that if there is the no deflection, means whatever the potential drop across that much length of the wire will equals to the EMF of the cell. And this is the reason no current is drawn by this unknown cell, and you can say that if that potential drop in that much portion of the length will equal to the EMF of this cell. So again beta, I am coming to my point ki first I have said that ki what do you mean by the null point? The point on the potentiometer wire at which there will be no deflection in the galvanometer. And when you getting the null point, what is the significance? How the null at the null point you are just getting the value of the EMF of the cell, that I have explained you. Now, so during this hit and trial, you just put the jockey here. You are found that if the deflection is towards left, when you put at this point, you found that deflection is towards right. It means that the null point is between in this one. If it is towards left, again we are moving further. If it is only towards right, we moving left to the this of the potentiometer wire. At this point, we found that if there is the no deflection in the galvanometer, no deflection in the galvanometer, means this point is said to be null point. The point at which there is no deflection in the galvanometer is said to be null point, and from the zero end of the potentiometer, this L is said to be length of that much portion at which you are getting the null point. So now beta, in the unit length of the wire, what is the potential drop? That will be equals to the potential gradient. So if in the unit length the potential drop is k units, so what is the potential drop in this L length of the wire? That is multiplied by L, and now you are getting this EMF of the cell, that is E is equals to K into L, and from here you can found that E is directly proportional to L. Greater the length at which you are getting the null point, greater will be the EMF of the cell. So in this way you will measure the EMF of the cell. Now but the second thing is that what precautions you will make in measuring the EMF of the cell. First thing is that I have said that if the positive terminal of this driver cell is connected to the zero end, otherwise you will not get the null point. Otherwise you will not get the null point. Why? Because if you connected the negative terminal to this one, the current in this branch never will be zero, and you will not get the null point. Why? Because current flows from higher potential to lower, and in this circuit the current will continuously maintain, and therefore you are not getting the null point. You are only getting the deflection, one-sided deflection only. The second thing is that if the EMF of this driver cell must be greater than the EMF of this standard cell whose EMF you want to measure. Because if this cell is not, if this cell having the larger EMF, this will be overcome the E. If this cell having the larger EMF in comparison to driver cell, then this cell will be drive the current in the circuit. And if this cell drive the current in the circuit in this branch, the current will not zero. Again, you will not get the null point. You are always getting the one-sided deflection. So this is the one of the correction issues, circuit correction issues in the lab also, and these are the theory question also, why we are getting one-sided deflection in the potentiometer experiment. So there are the two main reasons for getting one-sided deflection. One, if the EMF of this cell is greater than the EMF of the driver cell, then only this cell will drive the current in the circuit, and therefore you are getting one-sided deflection. And second is same thing, that is if this terminal is negative or is wrongly connected to the zero end of the potentiometer, then in that case also you will get the one-sided deflection. Means this situation, whatever the situation I explained you, if there is a left deflection, then at the one time there is the right deflection, you never get this deflection. You will get only and only one-sided deflection from one end of the potentiometer to other end. Means you are not getting the null point over the potentiometer wire. The second thing is that sensitivity of a potentiometer. Sensitivity of a potentiometer. What do you mean by the sensitivity of a potentiometer? And when you can say that a potentiometer is said to be more sensitive. A potentiometer is said to be more sensitive if it shows, if it measures a small value of the EMFs, even if it measures a small value of the EMFs accurately. Means the potentiometer, there are the two potentiometer. One potentiometer can measure the EMF of the 0.1 volt also, and one can measure only the maximum EMF, that minimum EMF that it can measure accurately, that is 0.5 volt. So which one will be more better? Which can measure the 0.1 volt accurately? Because the any instrument which can measures the as small as possible, any potentiometer which can measure the smaller values as well as can measure the larger values, that potentiometer is said to be more sensitive. Means if any potentiometer even can measure the smaller values very accurately, then that is said to be more sensitive. Now thing is that how can we decide that what is smallest value that can potentiometer measures accurately, and that is its gradient. In simple words, you can say that gradient is the least count of the potentiometer, because on the potentiometer wire there is the divisions are marked like in this way, and the value of the smallest marking is this much, and the value of this smallest marking what? It is the potential drop only in the length of the 1 centimeter wire, and therefore that will be the potential gradient if we are measuring the gradient in the volt per centimeter. Means the smallest value of the EMF that can be measured by the any potentiometer accurately, that is the its potential gradient. The smallest accurate value that can be measured by any potentiometer, that is its potential gradient. It means smaller the potential gradient, higher will be the sensitivity of the potentiometer. Smaller the potential gradient of the potentiometer, higher will be the its sensitivity. A thing is that if we want to increase the sensitivity of potentiometer, that is the question of the board exam also. So before that, we just get the postmortem of this potential gradient. Now, you are saying that the gradient is potential drop per unit length. Let us consider that potential drop over whole length of the potentiometer wire divided by length of potentiometer wire, VAB upon LAB. VAB can be written as if I is the current delivered by the driver cell, RAB is the resistance of the potentiometer wire, and LAB is length. So total resistance of potentiometer wire I am saying the resistance of the potentiometer wire only divided by length of the potentiometer wire. This will give the resistance per unit length of the potentiometer wire, that is smaller, and this implies that K is equals to I into small r. K is equals to I into small r. This is the potential gradient, that is potential drop per unit length of the wire, that is K is equals to I into small r. So now it depends on two factors, current and resistance per unit length. So the sensitivity can be increased if we decreasing the current in the circuit. And how can we decrease the current in the circuit? Initially I have said that I will just explain this role of the external resistance. By connecting the external resistance in the circuit, potentiometer circuit, we can reduce the current, and by reducing the current we can increase the sensitivity of the potentiometer. So now if I have connected, there is the I have connected 1000 ohm here. So you know the purpose of this connecting heavy resistance, the connection of the heavy resistance to reduce the current such that the sensitivity of the potentiometer can be improved. And second thing is that it is the resistance per unit length. By increasing the length of the potentiometer wire, the resistance per unit length wire reduces, and therefore you can say that the sensitivity of the potentiometer increases. So by two things we can increase the sensitivity, by decreasing the current and by increasing the length of the potentiometer wire, we can increase the sensitivity of the potentiometer. Now beta, again one more question is there, and that is very popular question from the board papers. I have already explained that this device is not very easy as like the meter bridge. Why potentiometer is called an ideal voltmeter? Again I am repeating, why potentiometer is called an ideal voltmeter. So first thing is that what is the voltmeter and what do you mean by ideal voltmeter? We know that a voltmeter is an instrument by which we can measure the potential drop or the EMF of the cell by connecting it across the terminals, across the ends of the wire. And the resistance of the ideal voltmeter is infinite. Second thing is that, and we can also know that no voltmeter is there which have the infinite resistance. It means that if measuring the EMF of the cell by using the voltmeter, there is the some current is drawn by this cell to the voltmeter because its resistance is not infinite. But in this case, that is by the using potentiometer, when you are measuring the EMF of the cell, you are getting the EMF of the cell at the null point. Means you also can say that you are measuring the EMF of the cell by using potentiometer by null method. And if this is the null point, it means that there is no current in this branch. If there is no current in this branch, it means that at null point there will be no potential drop across the internal resistance of this cell. And if there is no potential drop across the internal resistance of the cell, then in that case you are measuring the true value of the EMF, because I minus R is 0 na, because there is no current in the branch, and in that case you are measuring the E only, and this is the reason you are saying that it will be act as the ideal voltmeter. Means if in the exam it is said to be that you over the potentiometer and voltmeter, which one you will prefer for measuring of EMF of cell, so we will prefer the potentiometer, because in the potentiometer at null point there is the no current is drawn by the cell. It means that there is the no potential drop due to the internal resistance of the cell, and we are getting the true value of the EMF, and this is the reason the potentiometer is acting as an ideal voltmeter. So there is the another theory question. Now next we come to the beta application of the potentiometer wire. The application of potentiometer wiring with the potentiometer, application of the potentiometer. Next we come to the application of the potentiometer. the first application, and that is the first practical also in this topic, to compare the EMF of two cells. To compare the EMF of two cells. To compare the EMF of two cells. How can we compare the EMF of two cells? By using potentiometer. Beta, when you go in the lab, you found that if there is the wooden table is there, this is the wooden table, and over this table, this type of wired connections are there. This is the metallic strip, and in the lab generally the potentiometer from 400 centimeter to 1000 centimeter, means 4 meter to 10 meter are provided in the lab. This is the way, these are the wires over the wooden bench, over the wooden bench. ऐसे आप देखेंगे over the wooden bench these wires are connected here. This is the zero end I am just considering. This is the zero end. If you are considered it zero end, then you will connect the positive terminal of the driver cell from here, and the negative terminal is connected to a key, and then a rheostat for changing the current in the circuit. I have already explained you, and this is the actual auxiliary circuit that will be available in the lab. Now we want to compare, this is the end A and this is the end B. We want to compare the EMF of two cells. This is the one cell, this is the another cell. This cell having the EMF E1 and this cell is having the EMF E2. It will be connected by a two-way key. This key is K1 and this key is K2. Both are connected to a common terminal of the galvanometer, and the other end of the galvanometer is connected by the pencil jockey. In the first situation, let key K1 is closed. So K1 is closed and K2 is open. K1 is closed and K2 is open. We are finding that the EMF of the cell at the length L1, and therefore the EMF of cell will be E1 is equals to KL1. E1 is equals to KL1. We found the null point for the cell E1 only when the key K1 is closed. Only this cell will be in the circuit. Whatever the null point we are getting for this cell only, therefore you can say that E1 is equal to KL1. When K2 is closed and K1 is open, K2 is closed and K1 is open, this cell will be in the circuit only, and you are getting the null point for at length L2 for the cell E2 only, and its EMF will be E2 is equals to KL2, and this implies that E1 upon E2 is KL1 upon KL2. This K and K gets cancelled, and this implies that E1 upon E2 is equals to L1 upon L2. E1 upon E2 equals to L1 upon L2. In this way, you can compare the EMF of two cells by using potentiometer. But n number of times in the board exam it has been asked that it draw the circuit diagram for comparing the EMF of two cells by using the potentiometer. Now beta, the second application, to measure the internal resistance of the cell, to measure the internal resistance of cell, internal resistance of cell by using potentiometer. How can you measure the internal resistance of the cell? By using potentiometer. By using the potentiometer. Again, first draw the auxiliary circuit. So this is the end A of the potentiometer. I am just drawing the potentiometer of the length of 400 centimeter. This is the driver cell. This is the key is connected here. This is the rheostat. This is the auxiliary circuit beta. Now we want to measure the internal resistance of this cell whose EMF is E and internal resistance is small r. So just connect the positive terminal of this cell to the zero end of the potentiometer. Mark its source battery. You can get your notation according to your assumption. And not to the A, in parallel to the EMF of the cell, you just connect a rheostat, a resistance box, and whatever the value will be chosen of resistance from this resistance box, that will be marked as R. For example, you plug out the key of 2 ohm, then R will be taken as the 2 ohm, and here an additional key is connected, and that is key K1 in parallel to the EMF of the cell. And then other terminal is connected to the free end of the jockey, and it will be moved over the potentiometer wire. Initially K1 is open. K1 is open. When the K1 is open, this part of the circuit will be out of circuit, and you are getting the null point for the EMF of cell only. And when key K1 is open, you are getting the null point at the length L1 from the zero end, and therefore you will get the E1 is equals to KL1. Now K2 is closed. When you are saying that the K1, when K1 is closed and you plug out a key of lead resistance of 2 ohm, then whatever the null point you are getting for the null point of terminal potential difference across these two ends for this circuit, and therefore you are getting the null point this time, terminal potential difference across the cell, and you are getting the null point let at length L2, means V is equals to beta, it will be KL2, and this implies that E upon V is equals to KL1 divided by KL2. This K and K gets cancelled, and this implies that E upon V is equals to L1 upon L2. Now this implies that we know that beta if the value of internal resistance will be taken as small r equals to capital R, E upon V minus 1, E upon V will be L1 upon L2, and this implies that small r equals to capital R, L1 upon L2 minus 1, and this is the value of the internal resistance of the cell in the terms of when the cell is balanced at length L1, and when you're just closing the key K1, and for the terminal potential difference, that is the for length L2. So this is all about the potentiometer. Now next we come to beta one very popular question of board exams, number of times it has been repeated. So we come to the one more question on the potentiometer. So the question is saying that in the given diagram, the two cells of EMF E1 and E2 are connecting in the two configurations. The circuit diagram is given. This is the driver cell. This is the Rios external resistance. This is the key. This is the terminal A and this is the terminal B. Now, in one branch, the cells are connected in this way, and in another branch, the cells are connected in this way. The EMF of the cells are E1 and E2. E1 and E2. In this situation, you are getting the null point at 120 centimeter, and in this situation, you are getting the null point at 300 centimeter from the zero end of the potentiometer. The first part of this question is to find the ratio of E1 upon E2, the first part of this question, and second, find the balancing length for the cell E1 only, that is L for E1 only. If only cell E1 of EMF E1 is connected in the circuit, so what will be its balancing length, means at which point you are getting the null point from the zero end for the cell having the EMF E1 only. So now we come to the first part, beta. In the topic combination of cells, I have already explained you that when the cells are connected in series, when they are connected in order, so we can reduce these two cells by the one cell. How? They are connected in order, negative is connected to positive, therefore E equivalent. Just remember the E equivalent, let it will be E2 dash and this will be equals to E1 plus E2 because they are connected in order. And when you are getting the combination of these two cells, they are connected in series, and let it will be E1 dash only and it will be E1 minus E2 because they are connected out of order, because like polarities are in front of each other. In that case it will be E1 minus E2. How it can be E1 minus E2? How can it be E1 plus E2? It has been already explained in detail in the topic combination of the cells in the same chapter. Now, we can treat E2 dash as a one cell, E1 dash is a one cell. So what we can say that E1 dash will be equals to, what is the balancing length? 120 centimeter. K is the potential gradient and that is will be 120. And E2 dash will be equals to K into 300. Just divide them. K and K gets cancelled. This can cancel. And this will be 3 4 ja 12, 10, 2 2 ja 4 and 2 5 ja 10. This implies that E1 dash upon E2 dash is equal to 2 by 5, but you are interested in finding the E1 upon E2. So E1 dash can be written as beta E1 minus E2 and E2 dash can be written as E1 plus E2, that is 2 by 5. Applying the componendo dividendo, E1 minus E2 plus E1 minus E2 divided by E1 minus E2 minus E1 minus E2, and this will be 2 plus 5 divided by 2 minus 5. E2 and E2 gets cancelled from here, and when we are just putting the minus sign inside, E1 and E1 gets cancelled. This implies that twice of E1 divided by minus twice of E2 equals to 7 divided by minus 3, minus minus gets cancelled, and this implies that E1 upon E2, this implies that E1 upon E2 you will get, it will be 7 by 3. Now, for solving the balancing length for E1 only, we have to solve it. E1 minus E2 is K into 120 and E1 plus E2 is K into 300. Add them. When you are adding them, they get cancelled. Twice of E1 is equals to 420K. This implies that this will be 210, and this implies that E1 is equals to K into 200. B1 will be equals to K into L1. Why K into L1? Because the gradient will be same for in all the cases, because this is the wire of uniform cross section and gradient of the potentiometer will be same for all the cases. So let L1 is the balancing length for the cell E1 only when the cell E1 is connected here. So E1 is equals to KL1 is equals to K into 210. This K and K gets cancelled. L1 is equals to 210. That is L1 is equals to 210 centimeter. 210 centimeter. So this is all about the potentiometer. On next time means tomorrow, I will end the syllabus of the chapter 3 and unit test syllabus will over tomorrow, and tomorrow I will teach electric energy and power. Thank you so much.